The First Amendment guarantees freedom of the press, the right to protest, and the ability to speak truth to power. But what happens when those freedoms collide with a leader who sees criticism as the enemy? Under Donald Trump, America has watched the silencing of voices, from comedians to protesters, all echoing a deeper attack on democracy itself. Trump's war with the media. Trump's hostility toward the press is well documented. He branded reporters the enemy of the people, dismissed fact-based stories as fake news, and openly threatened regulatory action against broadcasters who challenged him. This was not just political theater. It was a strategy to weaken one of democracy's most vital institutions, a free and independent press. Attacks on Antifa and protest movements.
Antifa is a bad group, and they're criminals, and they're anarchists, and they're agitators.
But Trump's efforts went beyond the media. He targeted protest movements directly. During the summer of 2025, he declared Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. Despite the fact that Antifa is not a structured group, but a loose network of activists united against fascism. By labeling Antifa terrorists, Trump blurred the line between violent extremism and constitutionally protected protest. His Justice Department explored ways to criminalize dissent, and his rhetoric painted anyone protesting against him, from racial justice activists to anti-war demonstrators, as dangerous enemies of the state. By branding protest itself as terrorism, Trump attempted to turn the First Amendment upside down. Free assembly recast as a crime. Late-night comedy in the crosshairs. Late-night comedy, long a safe haven for satire, became another battlefield. Stephen Colbert consistently mocked Trump's falsehoods and abuses of power. In 2025, CBS announced The Late Show with Stephen Colbert would end in 2026, citing financial pressures. But the timing raised eyebrows. Just days earlier, Colbert had blasted a multi-million-dollar settlement between Trump and CBS's parent company, calling it a big fat bribe. Was this coincidence or a quiet silencing of one of Trump's fiercest critics? And then came Jimmy Kimmel. In September 2025, ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely after a monologue about the assassination of right-wing activist Charlie Kirk. Kimmel said, "The MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it." Kimmel said, "This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he calls a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish." The backlash was immediate. Affiliates threatened to pull the show. The FCC chair, appointed by Trump, accused Kimmel of spreading misinformation. And Disney, under immense pressure, took him off the air. A comedian silenced, not for lack of ratings, but for the content of his words. words that angered a president. Silencing protest at the White House. Even the right to peaceful protest, the very core of the First Amendment, was not spared. Across from the White House stood the nation's longest-running peace vigil. Launched in 1981 to call for nuclear disarmament, for 4 decades it survived. Through rain, blizzards, scorching heat, and freezing cold, it was a constant reminder to presidents of both parties that citizens had the right to dissent. That was until in 2025, on live television, Trump ordered its removal. That very day, Trump's administration dismantled the vigil, erasing a living monument to the right to protest and silencing voices that had endured literally for generations. Did anyone in the Republican Party voice opposition? The silence was deafening. Colbert, Kimmel, Antifa protesters, the peace vigil. On the surface, they may seem unrelated, but they share a dangerous pattern, silencing opposition. Whether through financial pressure, regulatory threats, or police action, Trump and his allies sought to reshape the public square until only one voice remained, his own. The First Amendment is not just words on parchment. It is the heartbeat of democracy. But when protest is criminalized as terrorism, when comedians are silenced, when journalists are vilified, when vigils are dismantled, when congressmen are afraid to speak out, those rights begin to fade. And a people who cannot laugh, cannot report, cannot assemble, cannot truly be free. If you believe in the right to speak freely, to laugh at power, and to stand in protest, now is the time to act. Share this video. Talk to your friends. Support independent journalism. Protect comedians and protesters alike. Share your own personal story on whereiwas.com. Because defending the First Amendment isn't optional, it's survival.